Hi everyone, I am Dr. Porscha Jackson with OBO, and I am excited to bring you the Procurement Success Stories Panel. I am joined with some fabulous guests today, and just to give you some background, the Procurement Success Stories Panel came about because of last year's Meet the Buyer 2019. You all suggested that you wanted to hear directly from some small businesses who have had success in procurement. So we aim to please, you asked, and this is what we have. The Procurement Success Panel, and I am joined by Greg Williams of Honesty Construction Group. Wave at them, Greg. And then we have Michelle Levy with Elite Tax, Image, Service, and Notary Services. Did I get it all right?
Yes.
Perfect. And so it's just going to be a casual conversation. I really want them to tell you their story so that you can be inspired and know that there is success in procurement. And so I'm just going to get it started off. If each of you can just, again, remind everybody of your name and just tell us about your business, what industry you're in, how and why you started your business. Ladies first.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Michelle Levi McDaniel, and I'm the CEO and president of Elite Image Tax and Notary Service. We are a professional accounting firm based here in Houston. I started the business back in December of 2012, based out of a need to want to be able to impact my community differently. And I wanted to be able to make myself available for my kids who were at the time in school and they needed more parent time. So I quit corporate America, started my own business, and hence here we are. I started in 2012, and then I became a certified woman-owned business with the city of Houston in September of 2014. And the rest is history.
Cool, great.
All right, Greg Williams, Honesty Construction Group. We are a general contractor. We specialize in new construction, remodel, renovation, and demolition. We work for government entities, municipalities, and some specific or select residential customers. We got started in 2008. I was in corporate, if you will, construction, and one of the owner's reps just pulled me to the side and said, Greg, we just had a good, honest contractor that we could go to, they could have plenty of work all the time. We were having some trouble with one of our larger GCs at the time. And so around that year, Ike came and some of the work out there slowed down. And I just started pulling trees out of swimming pools, honestly. And that's how we got started. I had some really good mentors along the way. Tony Council at TLC Engineering, I mentioned him earlier on. Al Kashani at Horizon Group earlier on when we first got started. And so with some of that tutelage, some of the ins and outs of the business, figuring it out, this is where we are. I went to school for it. I'm blessed enough this is what we always wanted to do. And we've been able to be successful. And it's not just from happenstance, it's a lot of hard work, but just want the folks to know that you can do it, keep coming to these things and make sure you engage everyone and engage those that have done it before you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And what I really heard both of you say is there was some sacrifice in starting your business, and there was some happenstance, and I'm sure that occurs all the time.
It does.
And you just gotta roll with the punches.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. So let me just take a break right here. If you have questions, make sure you are utilizing the chat feature because we will have time for questions afterwards, and we really want to make sure your questions get answered and you can hear from the panel. So let's just kind of dive in it. And so I really want you to kind of walk us through how you got to this point in the procurement process. So you can start it with, both of you are certified firms. Mm-hmm. Greg, I remember when I first started, Greg used to hit me up kind of at the table before we had virtual tables. And he would ask me about his certification. And so he got his certification. And I remember last year he attended Meet the Buyer, and then he saw me again afterwards and he said, this worked out for me. So throw it back to you, Greg.
Sure.
Tell us your success story in
Sure.
procurement and how you got to where you are now.
Absolutely. So we had a contract with the city of Houston. It was with the Area Agency on Aging doing minor home repair for a senior. And that was in 2014. So this whole time I'm thinking that was, it. I've got a city contract, hey, nothing left. And so after going to getting introduced to Mr. Thibodeau's procurement breakfast, fast forward that to Ms. Jeanette and at Fort Benton ISD and just getting set up with certifications and business period. She'll shoot you to Metro, and having one certification is all right, but there's multiple that are needed. And so from that, it was a Section 3 meeting that I went to, and I met Ms. Karen Franklin. Well, she was the first person I saw at OBO 2019. And so talking at her table, someone overheard me at the next table. Hey, you're certified with the city? Yes, ma'am. That was Joyce Baker. So she called me within that month. Before December was over, we already had a contract working on a public works building. 2 weeks later, we got another one. We've got 2 or 3 bids out now. Ms. Tanya Eldridge, thank you. And these aren't, here you go, here's the contract because we know you. This is, you've shown us the work, you're certified. You've got recommendations from other people, from other, facilities, and, it just works. This isn't lip service. I really walked in not knowing what to expect, but came out with contracts. Even ran into someone that I had known a long time ago in industry. He happened to be over a program and was able to utilize us. And I just graduated from a Goldman Sachs class. I was able to pull in one of the guys, or was about to start it rather. And so by that time I was able to pull in one of the guys from my class. Now he's got City of Houston experience. So that's how this works. It really does. Dr. Jackson's doing a great job. And like she said, yes, I'd hit up that table. Where's my, certification? No, not like that, of course. And please don't do that, guys.
No, it was like that.
It's worth the question, and it's necessary, and that's why. You're hamstringing yourself if you think that just, showing up and doing a good job is going to be it. No, make sure that all those check boxes that these prime and larger subcontractors are asking for, that the city, these municipalities are asking for, make sure you have them now. So that when they do call your name, like she did, just standing next to that table, just happen to be prepared and ready.
So how big is your firm?
People-wise, revenue-wise?
People-wise.
People-wise, we do about 10 or so part-time employees. I've got 3 folks I just brought in this year as a PM-wise. We're actually growing. I've hired more folks this year than we ever have. And it's becoming more and more necessary to partner with other firms while we're bringing on employees. Yes.
Say that one more time.
Yes.
It's more and more important to partner with firms as you're growing your business. So, for instance, there's a flooring company that I work with. I've got guys in my employ that can do flooring, but partnering with this firm, sharing some of that risk and sharing some of that reward help. Also partner with larger firms. I'm partnering with a company that's over 200 employees. They're much, much larger than me. However, they're my subcontractor on a project in which we were able to partner on. This is what the city wants to see. And we've got now access or experience with LCP Tracker and Textura and all these OBO documents that would normally make a smaller firm a liability. Now we're an asset, because now I can train up and I can show my prime. As a matter of fact, my CPA did my prime's certified payroll on one of our contracts. So work yourself up. I mean, make yourself or show them your value, and that's just work for us.
Perfect. You heard him talk about networking, and you heard him talk about collaboration, and he named some people that referred him to other people. So there's connections. And because he was going to these events and not just attending them, eating the breakfast and then walking out, he was actually going to the tables. He was persistent in talking with them. And that's what helped him to get to where he is. And what I really liked was that you're a small firm, but you said your prime contractors was your subcontractor. Okay, we'll come back. Michelle, tell us about your certifications and then how that plays into your procurement success story.
Some of the same situations happened as with Greg. So after I got certified in 2014, the first thing I did is I went to the procurement breakfast. How I heard about the certification, I attended a workshop at Kingdom Builders. And they had the City of Houston there for a presentation to the Contractors College on how to become certified. I met Ms. Karen. She said, I'm gonna need that application. I'm like, what is she talking about? So she said, I'm gonna need that application. I said, okay. So I applied with the City of Houston. I then applied with Section 3. My first year of business, I only made $97. That was it.
Wow.
$97. Through my procurement opportunities, right now, we're on a book of business through procurement with the City of Houston. That's $4.4 million.
Go ahead.
Right?
All right.
That was 3 certifications. A lot of the primes that I've met and had the opportunities to meet, I met from procurement opportunities. I attend pre-bids that don't even apply to my industry.
Up. Repeat moment right there.
Yes. I attend pre-bids for opportunities that don't necessarily apply to my industry. Why is that? Greg is a general contractor. He's in construction. But what does Greg need? Greg needs contract compliance. He needs certified payroll. He may need his financial statements so that he can complete his OBO certification. These are accounting things and administrative things that we can offer. And as primes, sometimes you have to meet your MWBE participation goal. If I am certified as an MWBE, who do they go to first? I want to use an example of back in 2015, when I first got certified, you start to get emails and procurement opportunities. And even though they may not apply to your industry, read them, attend the pre-bids. Pre-bids are not just going to say if I want to bid on the work. And it's not just about the networking to see who's there. It's about the opportunity that you need to create for yourself. Once you sign in on the attendance list, so you're a part of that solicitation because you've attended. Primes have access to your information. Other subs have access to your information. I've gotten a lot of calls based on me attending. One of my biggest procurement opportunities right now came from me attending a pre-bid back in 2015. It was for disaster recovery. I'd never had any work in disaster recovery. I just knew what the news said about disasters, that they hurt people, right? I didn't know that that was a whole opportunity. Went to a pre-bid in 2015. In 2017, when Harvey affected our area and community, I got a phone call from Tetra Tech, who was at that pre-bid. He remembered me. He remembered talking to me. He said, hey, we have an opportunity for MWBE. Are you interested? I say, do you gotta ask? Where do I need to come sign the paperwork?
Right.
And so that started a whirlwind of other opportunities. Because when you work with larger primes, you do the good work. You're building your reputation that you can handle the capacity. Other people see that. It's about becoming that qualified resource that people want to turn to. And so that's part of what we've created for my business, is that we want you to know that we're qualified. We have the capacity. And so the primes that we work with help us to build a reputation. All of that was done through networking. It was done by attending pre-bids. So you have to take the time. You have to attend a pre-bid. You have to make yourself available. People don't know you exist if you're not present. So you have to make sure that you're putting in the time, that you are also building relationships with those that you meet at the pre-bid. My first couple of pre-bids, I walked in, I walked out, I was like, gee, these people don't want to talk to me, right? Because they didn't know me, I didn't know them.
Discouraging, yeah.
And so Ms. Karen I don't know how it's like she's everywhere. And she was like, why did you just leave? And I said, well, they were talking about something. She said, turn back around. I said, yes, ma'am. And so you have to partner and make yourself available. And once these people know that you are sincere about it, they will help you to take your company to the next level. There are other programs that I've been involved in that I've met through the city of Houston, Build Up Houston, access to networking through the city of Houston. I am a graduate of the Interagency Procurement Program.
I was going to say that. You get the pen on. Make sure
And so these are opportunities. And because I was a part of that Interagency Mentor Protege Program, I now have partnership and opportunities with Metro, with HCC. Thank you, Veronica Douglas, for that. You know, and the state of Texas. And this is all by attending, building relationship, having your statement of capabilities, and make sure that you learn how to pitch your company, right? Because they meet 1,000 people. There's so many people networking, but you have to be able to find that niche, introduce yourself, and you need to be what they're looking for. That's what that's about. And that's what procurement is. You got to know what their need is, and you got to meet their need.
I like that. And because a lot of people may ask, well, how do I stand out to these people to where, as you mentioned, Karen, when she says Karen, she's talking about Karen Franklin with the City of Houston's Housing and Community Development. She has a virtual booth. Make sure you go and talk to Karen so she can call you out if you're leaving early and make you come back in. Same Karen that Greg mentioned. So what is it that, and both of you can definitely answer this question, what is it do you think that you did for you to be able to stand out to the folks who are able to help you and assist you and help you connect? Because a lot of people, especially for the pre-bid conference, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that is so important, they think that no one's going to notice me if I'm just there, and especially we're in the virtual environment, so I'm just on this Zoom call. What would you advise them? How would you advise them to make sure that they're sticking out and they are being known so that folks can contact them and kind of build that relationship?
I can say something real quick, and I want to play off of what you said about, you said something about be what they need, is that right? To answer that,
be the resource that they're looking for.
It's specific to who your audience is. In this case, let's say the prime contractor. Yesterday, Greystar did a presentation on our NAMEC Lunch and Learn, and they were talking about how to successfully do a bid, present them with a bid, and specifically what they look for. Well, some things they look for are going to be different than some other primes will look for. So what you can do to bring yourself out, first, make sure you're ahead of time, you talk to these project managers, not just the cold calls where they're calling to see if you're going to bid, you know, to meet their quota, but this is to know who they are. Go to these events, do this networking like she said, even if you think it's not going to be for you. And then in addition to that, go ahead and sign up and fill out their pre-certification documents that they need. Okay, what's going to make you stand out from your, if you will, competition is going to be that you've already done that legwork. They already have you on file. So any little thing that they need now, they could potentially go to you because you've been vetted. Then beyond that, you want to make sure that the specific things that they want, right? The certification, if they do a lot of state work, you want to make sure you're hub certified. A lot of city work, you want to make sure that you're SBE or that you've got your MBE certification, right? Be what they're asking for. If you take that angle versus just going to the pre-bid and signing up and, hey, I do concrete, can I do concrete for you? That might work. A better way is going to be, hey, I do concrete. I see that you've done this project. This was the person that managed it. Can we talk to him about what value we can bring?
Do your research.
Those are the, right. That's what you need. And organizations like NAMEC and different, forums are going to help cut out some of that legwork. And you're not doing it alone, right? And some of these folks have talked to some of these other primes and subcontractors that you're also trying to work with.
Relationships.
So yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things that I do when I walk into a pre-bid of course, you're going to sign in. You're going to say, good morning. I have a handful of business cards and I give it to every person that walks through the door. What I also do, and so that's me introducing myself. And of course, they look at me like, good morning. And so it's like, okay, good morning. But once you've done that, they now have your card in your hand. What I do appreciate about pre-bids, pre-conferences, is that the agencies allow the primes or GCs to identify themselves. Take that as an opportunity to say, okay, I need to talk to those 3 people that just said they are either prime, general contractor, or they're bidding on the solicitation because they're asked. And I love that agencies put them to the front because that's who I need to go speak to. And I've already given them their card. And then as you make that simple and elegant introduction after the pre-bid, and then they hear from OBO what your participation goals are. And then they look back and they say, well, aren't you certified? Yes. Tell me what you do again. And so when I first got out here, I was just telling everything, right? Because I just need them to know, oh, I do this, this, and this, right? We're an accounting firm. But then as I start to mature in that, based on the solicitation that you got to read the scope of work. So after reading the scope of work, you determine what that prime is going to need in that scope of work. Is it contract compliance? Is it certified payroll? Is it back office support? Then I can say, hey, this is how I can be a benefit to you on this particular solicitation. So it's just about being prepared and knowing who you will be meeting or who you're going to meet. And then you follow that up with not just a capability statement, but here's my project experience.
I like.
This is my experience that I've had on different projects. So you name the projects. And that gives you, that's your vetting opportunity is to have that and be able to produce that on your own. And then it makes the process easier. Then once you do have that follow-up conversation, it allows the conversation to be more impactful because they know what your qualifications are and how you can serve them. And when you do have that one prime that you develop a relationship for, there are so many other opportunities that come out of that one opportunity. So you got to make sure that that you're prepared. If you cannot do the work, do not apply. If you don't have the capacity, don't apply. Because once you are on any type of city, local government, state government, federal solicitation, and you cannot meet the needs, if you underbid, if you don't have adequate staffing, they do make note of that. That will limit your opportunity.
Michelle?
So, it's the truth.
I know.
So, I know we have to move on, but one other small example. Back in 2015, my very, very first opportunity, I was jumping up and down when I got the phone call, right? And I was like, ooh, who gonna do the work? You know what I mean? Because I was like, ooh. But how I got the work, Tony Henshaw with the City of Houston Public Works, that was a contractor that was on street sweeping. He underbid it. He couldn't produce for the city. And so there was a temporary emergency PO that was put out. And the prime that answered to the PO had met me before. He said, Michelle, I know this is short notice, but would you be willing to work on this small opportunity? Yes. So after that solicitation, that emergency PO was over and he officially bidded on the work, he said, here, I'm gonna give you the whole 24% because of that one opportunity. That's how I got on with in the beginning, is because someone underbid it, they couldn't produce, and a new prime came in. So if you cannot do the work, don't sell yourself to do that. Know what you can do, know what your capacity is, and just simply do that. There is so many opportunities out here that are available through the city, the airport system, housing, public works, Harris County. There's so many opportunities. There's no need to try to cloud the opportunities to not make things available for us smaller people. Don't sleep on us. A lot of us are growing in capacity, and we do have the capability. And so how you get that is through the partnering, but you got to do the work, follow the scope, and do what you say you can do. Don't overcompensate trying to win, because when you get out there, then you've just made a mistake, and now they know that you don't have the capacity.
And the reason that I said your name is because you were preaching basically, because sometimes, small businesses, they see these bids and they want to do the business so
Yes.
bad that they go through all of the work, and they know that they don't meet the qualifications, but they still go through it anyway, and then they get discouraged at the end. So I'm so glad you hit on that point, because that is definitely a gem. Both of them are dropping gems. I have my questions to ask them, but I'm not getting a chance to ask them because they're answering them already. So, and quickly tell everybody how large, people-wise, is your firm. Greg already told us
Oh,
about his.
okay, I got to keep up with Greg. So, Elite, of course, started with me, simply me. I then moved to 2 full-time contractors. As of today, we have 8 people on staff.
Oh.
We have 6 full-time. We have 1 part-time and 1 contract.
Excellent. I just want to make sure everybody knows that sometimes you start off by yourself, and then as you grow, you continue to add people. So don't get discouraged if you only have 2 or 3 people. They are still making it happen, just like you all can make it happen.
Yes.
So what do you think is the biggest misconception about being a subcontractor and working on procurement projects?
Wow.
Well, I think for me, coming into it, before I really did a lot of municipal or government work, it was, fixing houses. And so I was always a prime, if you will, right? I'd find my painter, I'd hire my floor guy, I'd hire my drywall. And so some of it is a pride thing to swallow and say, hey, I'm not in charge anymore. I'm working for someone now. Well, I own a company. How can I work for get over it, right? Some of my best contracts are because I'm a subcontractor to a larger, more, experienced prime. And the other misconception is being a prime and it being the best thing ever, right? There's so many more things that go with being a prime, and it's not always as profitable as you think. And so it's not to discourage one versus the other. That's just to say that, as Michelle just said, within your industry and within your strength, within that scope of that work or that size of the work, that's where you can really fit in as your prime or you as a subcontractor. We sub specific work, $300,000 to $500,000 and up, specific type of work. The other things we will prime. Some work is too large for me to prime, so I can sub what I would normally prime. So it's swallow your pride, work out with the larger firms that you can know and that are doing things the right way, that register with the city, are doing the partnership the correct way, and that's the better way at it. Don't just think that you're going to be a sub forever, or don't just think you're going to always have to bid as a prime. It's not necessary.
One of the misconceptions in the professional services industry, and I think just with some small businesses overall, we're always worried about getting paid. We're always worried about getting paid. Are they going to pay me? Are they going to pay me? So that's one of the biggest misconceptions, is that small businesses sometimes don't want to work with government agencies because of slow pay or no pay. Honestly, I haven't had that issue. So But I do know what I've heard, and that's why a lot of small businesses sometimes don't get certified, because they don't want the headache of chasing a payment.
Based off what they've heard and not
Exactly.
what they've experienced.
Exactly,
Okay.
based on what they've
Mhm.
heard. And so when I hear that type of, you know, yeah, criticism, I kind of just, you have to find a positive and a negative. And I always say, I didn't have that experience. And once you become certified, that is a benefit to you, is that OBO monitors the contracts. They do monthly contract compliance on a whole different level, where if the prime got paid, the prime needs to pay you within a certain amount of days. So there's not going to be an opportunity for you not to make a payment. Will I get credit for the work? You get credit for the work because of the letter of intent that you're going to sign, because of the subcontracting agreement that you're going to sign. Sometimes if the prime or the sub does not meet their subcontracting or their scope of work, that may not affect you. So you have to make sure that you have the proper documents in place so that you won't have all of these misconstrued information. You know, you got to make sure that you research for yourself and stop listening to other people that have had bad experiences and it doesn't apply to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and I didn't mean that harshly.
No, you're saying it right.
It's, if I go to Greg and Greg, I'm thinking about getting certified and I want to be XYZ, girl, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You know, because
they
this
didn't
is
pay
what,
me. Well, they also didn't say I didn't turn mine in on time, or I waited till the 10th instead of the 8th, right? Or I didn't fill out my B2G correctly.
Yeah.
All those things that have to be done.
That's correct.
We're throwing these
And
acronyms
so-
out, but you'll learn them, you know.
Yeah. What? So when you get that notice, right?
Yes.
But in all seriousness, there are so many opportunities available for procurement opportunities. So please stop listening to people that have not done it. Even there have been people or small businesses that have done it, but their experience is not your experience. So please look into these opportunities yourself. There are so many opportunities available. You have to do the work yourself. And I'm eating because I'm getting paid on time. So I can't answer that question.
So tell me, what has been the most difficult barrier for you that you've had to overcome with being in this procurement process?
It's getting your feet in the door.
What about you, Greg?
Yeah.
For me, it was breaking into the bonding arena.
Yeah.
So a lot of projects of size now will require bonding in a different financial capacity. And before, we didn't have, thank you, Cadence Bank, David and Rami over there, but we didn't have lines of credit. And I was with another bank, I won't say them, since 2008, and could not get, it's those type of qualifications, right? The financial end of it. We had good books, got great credit, but that doesn't mean that when I put this bid together and they're requesting that you have a certain bond amount or a payment or a bid bond, or Metro requires some payment and bid bonds, right? You could have all the qualifications and not be able to even bid the work.
Yes.
I prepared a job order contracting program for a co-op. I will not say who, and they did not do anything wrong, but when it came time to bid it, I didn't have a bonding, didn't even think about it. Right, it was a couple of years ago, didn't even think about it. And no harm, no foul,
Right.
but it wasn't prepared. Thought I was, because I knew everything about it, right? So for me, that was the biggest hurdle. Understanding what I didn't know on the financial end, and not paying people, not having money for business, just showing it on this paper so that we can, that's that foot in the door, right?
Yeah.
The contract I'm talking about now that I partner with, that Prime wanted to see our last 3 months books and our balance sheets and things, right? And without a good CPA firm or someone that can just pull that and have been keeping up with it,
You wouldn't
you're
be able
lost.
to.
Yeah.
For us, it was the project experience. As a new business, I'm eager and I'm ready to get to work. And I had a mentor who said to me, Michelle, I see what you're doing. I know who you are. I know what you're about. But do you have the capacity to do this? Do you have the ability to do this work? I applied. I did my first solicitation on my own through Harris County. I said, I know the work. This is in the bucket, right? And they were asking, have you done this before? Yes, I have, but not to the level that they were looking for. And so my little spirit was crushed for about 10 minutes, but it made sense. So for us, you have to have that experience. And how did I get the experience? By subbing. You have to start at the bottom to move your way up. I think you said it earlier. So for us, it was taking those smaller opportunities so you can have the moment to say, I can do this. So for us, it was creating that summary of project experience.
Perfect. And so I know at OBO, people always want to know, how can I bid? What does it look like to actually write a bid? And so for that, starting in January, we're actually going to have a class for folks to register to learn that process. So you guys are already in the game. How did you, I know, Greg, you mentioned NAMAC helped you. So when you answer it, tell people what NAMAC means.
Sure.
And then, but also, let us know, how did you learn how to bid? And what resources were available? What person? Yeah.
Sure. So NAMAC is a National Association of Minority Contractors. Michelle is a member of it as well.
Yeah. And on the board. And
on the board, right? We both sit on the board. And so what NAMAC does is they provide different resources for the general contractors, period, in the construction industry. It's a nationwide organization. We are the Houston chapter. So they'll be at all the different networking events. We host a lunch and learn every month. This last one that we just mentioned, I mentioned Great Star. These are some of the places that you can learn how to bid. For me, this is my degree. It's what I went to school for. I love it. I'm thinking about it now and I'm getting chills because I just love to bid and to take off. But if you do not,
we don't have time for that.
Right, you don't have time for that, correct. But it's kind of difficult to say. There's classes you can take formally. I would say that within an estimating department, if there's a mentor or a larger firm that you can get with their estimating department and look at how to take bids off, it's a little bit different. If we're talking about reading plans and things like that, we are working on avenues for that. For instance, I know NAMAC, and working with Roger Pumbrell, our chair, is partnering with University of Houston, and there's a program they're working with their construction industry. And it's my shout out to University of Houston Construction Management. It's my Bachelor of Science from there. But we're working on it. That's the best I can say. We hear that a lot. That's a more difficult one to address because there's too many things.
Yeah.
And it's almost like telling you how to wire up a television or something. I mean, it's just. But I'll say this: don't pay for someone to do your bid for you. I can say that. I get a lot of emails. We're a company out of whoever, and we guarantee our bids or your money back, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you win this bid, your quantities are off 1,000 square foot, and you've got to come up with that, or you're consistently off and you don't know why. You really don't know the job, so stay away from that. Right? Yeah. Stay away from that. It's just going to take some work. There's not a quick one for that.
So years ago, your predecessor, Will Norwood. I am a graduate of the Houston Area Urban League Small Business University. And one of the sessions was how to do business with the city of Houston. This was back in 2016. Will Norwood gave that class, right? he talked about certification. He talked about how to read through the scope of work, how to look at the scope of work. He gave that session. And so that was my first opportunity to see even what that packet looked like, because I'd never seen one before. You have different programs that I think OBO is a part of that people overlook. Build Up Houston, because they got to come to class, right?
They gotta come to
They
class,
got to come
7
to
months.
class. I know, but these are opportunities that will aid them or us in our pursuit for growth. So you have Build Up Houston. You have the Contractors College at Kingdom Builders. The City of Houston partners with that. They have a procurement session in that. You have to, I know there are some larger construction companies that have how to bid. Turner Construction is a part of our NAMAC corporate partners. They've done their school of procurement.
I think
So-
J.E. Dunn has one too.
Yeah. So you have to, there are so many resources that are available to us as small business owners. Sometimes we fail to tap into what you guys are providing. And that's just a true fact. Metro also has their Metro University. But then when I became a mentee in the mentor protege program, that was a whole part of that program, is learning how to bid, how to respond to the agencies and the prime. You have to be a part of one of those programs so that you could receive the full benefit of it.
That's the secret sauce.
That's the secret
I
sauce.
guess that's why it's so hard to really just put a pin on
Yeah.
how to bid, or not just to read the plans, but what you just said, all of that. 7 months here, 6 months there, 3
A
months
lot
later.
of time and investment,
I
and
just
dedication and
graduated
persistence.
yesterday. I just graduated Goldman Sachs, right?
Congratulations.
Yes. But in Goldman Sachs, I'm working, I'm taking these classes, and I'm learning and finding new opportunities. When the City of Houston sends out opportunities, they said, hey, we're partnering with Inner City Capital Connections. Do you want to be a part? Yes, right? Because that's another platform that's going to make another opportunity available to you. If you don't tap into the resources that are made available to you, how do you expect to succeed? People do business with people they know.
Yes.
People do business with people that they know.
They do.
But not only that, you have to build great relationships with the people, and it has to be a mutual respect for the business, right? And so there's no magic, right? Because we've all made mistakes, and we've all had obstacles to overcome. But I've been in this almost 10 years. It didn't come easy. You're right.
All right.
There were some times when you were hungry. There were some times that you were anxious. But you have to keep the grind, if that's the right word, right? You have to stay on your grind.
Yes.
You have to be available, and you have to be able to keep your commitment, not just to your business, but to what it is, to your craft, to your industry. So now I'm always looking for opportunities to work, because now I have staff. If I don't find work, then I can't keep them. They can't take care of their families, and it trickles down, you know?
And to add to it, you're saying that support group in your family. Can't say enough about my wife.
Yes.
She's a professional, right? So, but she has really, really, really been really understanding and supportive in this path and this journey,
Yes.
right? And for me now to be able to have staff that I'm paying and pay myself and know forecast 6 months down, I didn't anticipate that a year and a half
It's
ago.
doing everything right. It's doing everything right.
So it's coming through. So she can finally see it, and I can see it, and so it's being responsible of those.
It's been a journey.
Yeah, and so it's important. So
Yes.
keep that around you.
Perfect.
One funny story, right?
And as you do that story, I'm going to transition and see
Okay.
if we have any questions. So
Sure.
folks, if you have any questions, make sure you are putting them in the chat feature. So go ahead.
So, early on in this journey, you know, I'm doing the work. It was one of those I didn't get paid moments. And so I told my husband, I said, honey, he said, I already know, I already paid the rent. I was like, thank you.
Thank you so much, right?
But you know what I mean? But it's like you already have that.
Sure.
And so if you don't have that, when I first started, my kids helped me in the business. My daughter was my receptionist. Thank you, Madison. She was the receptionist and the shred queen,
Oh,
you
wow.
know?
Yeah.
And so everybody took a part in it. And now, yesterday, my son was at the graduation. He's like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, I know I'm crying. He's like, why are you crying? Because I'm happy, right? Things are not perfect, but they're starting to work because of the processes that you're putting in place. So it's all about the process.
So they say at Goldman Sachs, the greatest motivator is progress,
Ooh,
right?
that homework was killing me. Thank you, Miss Liz.
Yes, Lord.
At HCC.
So I'm checking the chat and it doesn't look like we have any questions. So just want to remind everyone, if you have questions, to make sure you go ahead and put them in the chat feature so we can get them answered for you. And so I know both of our panelists mentioned folks who helped them, and they mentioned some programs that really helped them. So for one answer, what characteristics do you think business owners and businesses need to have, some must-haves in order to succeed in procurement? And which programs would you advise that you would say you have to do this, that's going to help you in this process?
I would say, for me, start with Ms. Jeanette over at Fort Bend ISD. There is plenty of opportunities over there. She will let you know about that pie and how there's pieces to be shared. But in addition to that, he's going to give you a full list of resources that you need to start with. I did that and it opened it up wide. Just it's too many to even think about to even try to fathom it. That I can pull a direct string right to her, and a direct string right from her to Mr. Thibodeau. And so those are the kind of things, I guess, immediately that I would do. Your certifications, getting all of your financials ready. So I'll always have like 3 years ready. A lot of different bids and procurement opportunities are going to want that. Try to get into some of these co-ops, choice partners, buy board, tips. Those all help in the municipality area. For City of Pearland, for instance, I've done work for them since, I don't know, 2014 or so. And they're now members of choice partners. And so they've encouraged me, and I did just, we've submitted a bid for it. But those are going to be some avenues that can keep, the workflow going, right? As well as get you some good exposure for past performance with these same municipalities.
So my suggestion would be, along with your financials and those things and those were some great things you said, I would suggest that you would take the time and present yourself in the manner that you want to be received. Create that capability statement. Create that project summary and create your resume. As the owner of the company, your resume holds a lot of weight because you're the one that's producing the work. So you have to have those things available, and be able to, don't be embarrassed to sell yourself, your service, your business, because you are the business. But you can't do that if you don't know how to package yourself together. So I would look at that. There are a lot of opportunities that can help you. I love the Interagency Mentor Program because you have all the agencies that come together. And so you learn from each of the agencies. I'm not sure when that program starts again. I would suggest it because you get Metro, Port of Houston, HCC, City of Houston. You have all of these local agencies come together under one roof. How often does that happen?
never, and I'd say,
Right.
take advantage of that for Houston wise.
Exactly.
I've,
So that is a strong tool to use. And once you become a part of that system, you have those department leaders there to assist you and guide you. So I would suggest that. OBO often has workshops. Please utilize the workshops. Utilize the workshops through Metro Small Business University under Sharonda Murray and Miss Monique Petaway. They will give it to you. All of these people that we're naming have all invested in myself, my company, in Greg and his company. And these are some things and people and opportunities that helped us grow. Because just like Greg made an appointment with Miss Jeanette, I made that same appointment. We're part of her monthly Fort Bend,
this is a focus group.
yeah. Oh, thank you, because I got stuck on that word.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to make yourself available to know what people are looking for. So if you're looking for the work is not going to come to you. You have got to put in the work to be a part of some programming that can give you some great foundation and some great guidance. And then utilize the resources that they give to you. You just named those. I've named some. If you do not utilize the resources that they give to you, then you really don't want to grow your business, and you really can't be serious about making the money, because they keep laying out the footprint. They really do. We just have to take them up on it. So I would suggest that.
Thank you so much. You all have been amazing. And so I just want to encourage everybody, if you think of some questions later on, feel free to reach out to us. We are putting an announcement right now where you can ask your questions, and we'll get those questions answered for you. Also, if you have additional questions for our panelists, I'm going to challenge them to go to our networking page. How about this? You all just go to our networking page and say, I have a question for Michelle, I have a question for Greg, and I am going to make sure that they get your questions, and I'll connect you with them.
Yes.
And
No
because it's all
problem.
about connections.
Yep.
and doing that great networking. So again, thank you panelists for all the information you shared and how you tell, and being just vulnerable. Tell everybody about your procurement success stories to encourage others. So we are getting ready for our next and our last workshop, Contracts Compliance 101. You definitely want to tune into that. Also, please make sure you continue to visit our virtual booths. Our vendors are there. As well as, don't forget, we have those on-demand workshops ready for you. And they really touched on a lot of the business programs and resources, and those folks are the folks that are giving some of those webinars. So you definitely want to make sure you see their face, and they're here today, and you want to make sure that you visit them here at the Meet the Buyer. So thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you at the next workshop and also in the networking channel.
Thank you.